Hello race fans, welcome back at the Sunday night. What can we expect tonight? For the first race we have our Sunday night SF2 Skippy race and we're here in Hungary. It will be the same track as Formula 1, the Hungaroring, but we will talk about that a little bit later. My name is Pimlet and of course Peter Lee has joined us here in the booth. Peter, welcome. I know you have been practicing tonight for this race, so can you tell us all the secrets about this track?
Wow, Pim, it's really great to be here, and we've got some new faces, I guess, that we'll talk about in our Skippy Formula 2 race tonight. But you're right, I've been spending a lot of time on this track and just loving it. You know, even though it's an FIA-approved Formula 1 track, so you might think it's too big and too fast for these little skippies. It's a great skippy track. You know, it tests your strategy, managing the draft. It's got technical sections where you just really have to throw this car around. I just love it, and I think we're going to have a couple of great races tonight.
Yeah, and we only see currently 8 people with a time, but we have a lot more drivers in this race. I see some old guys, some guys from I think season 1. Rusty Pontenberg is back. I see Ian Warhol, of course, still driving, but also see some new names.
Yeah, by my count, we have 3 folks here who are making their debut races with Sunday Night Skippy SF2. We have Melody Chance, Kurt Smith, and Clayton Ham. And, you know, Pim, you and I have been racing with Clayton Ham in a GT3 league, and we know how fast he is. I'll be really interested to see what Melody and Kurt can show us.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to see new people. For the new people, if you come up here for the first time, do remember, we're not going to butcher your name. We're not doing that on purpose, but it's a little bit our, or at least my way of trying to be a broadcaster. But it looks like Alex Alton is again on that pole position, currently at 2:03. But when I was looking in practice, I actually noticed that we have 2:01s driving around. So I don't know, what is your time, Peter? What are you aiming for when you drive?
Well, you know, on a clear track with a little heat on it, I've been running in the mid 204s. So these guys are being fast. Now it is a cooler track. I think the track temp is right now 77 degrees. And this is also, being a big Formula 1 track, it's also a track for these skippies where the draft matters a lot. And so, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be less about all out, you know, who has the best lap times, and more about, you know, who's going to manage the race the best. And I think, you know, we'll see, I'm guessing, some packs form that stay pretty close, little draft packs.
Yeah, and I'm also very curious because we know how difficult it is coming into this first race. Maybe not familiar with pit stops. We are going to have 2 pit stops in this race. So that's going to be exciting, at least for us as watchers and viewers. For a newcomer, that's sometimes quite difficult. So I'm curious how they're going to manage this. I see that we're nearly ending the qualification.
Well, Pim, you know, the pit stops are going to be a big challenge, especially for the new drivers here, because not only is fuel restricted so that you won't be able to finish the race unless you make 2 stops to refuel, but this is a long track. It's you know, going on 2 3/4 of a mile around, and so that means, you know, if you're off by 1 or off by, you know, half, you know, by 1 mile on the amount of fuel that you can extend to, you're not going to finish the race. And so it'll be, you know, a special challenge for anyone who hasn't really experienced this before.
Awesome, special things that we always like to see that. I do want to have a quick look at our Sunday Night Skippy standings for the Formula 2. We do see that Ian Warhol is currently 136 points, the leader with 8 points ahead of Alex Alton, and after that is Dave Pickram. So the old Ian Warhol from season 1 is now leading this race. Curious to see what that's going to bring.
Yeah, it's Ian has been showing a ton of speed so far this season, really as fast as anyone. And on top of that, he's been finishing races pretty clean, and so that's a pretty lethal combination.
Yeah,
But Alex Lothan, also super fast. Dave Pickram, Chris Daniel, Rusty Pontenberg. And look out! There are people who are showing real speed at this track. I was in a practice session earlier this week with Barry Stockdale and with Joe Zubo. They were fast, so I think there's plenty of speed out there.
yeah, that will be very exciting. There is one person that I'm really missing up here, and that's Jake Ashe, the number fifth of this championship, 120 points. He's not here today, so that will make a big difference. We'll see who can take his role as first pitter, but that will be a change.
Yeah, it's a good point that you're raising, and so for people who are watching for the first time, Jake Ashe always is one of the most interesting drivers when it comes to pit strategy. Typically tries the undercut and is always the first one in for the first refueling stop. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens with him not in the field today.
Yeah, and I will tell you that it looks, if you look at it from a broadcast perspective, you can clearly see that. If you're in the race, you sometimes forget that Jake is there because he's always in the back. But he already took a pit stop. So then in the last moment, he's suddenly coming up, and he has a lot of speed. So yeah, too bad he's not here, but we have a lot of new people joining, so it will be a good race.
Yeah, it does look a good field. Noticing in the Twitch stream, it looks like Melody Chance has a fan club out there rooting for Team Melody.
Awesome.
One thing also to say about this track is, along with the Red Bull Ring, this is an iRacing track that has the new off-track detection system, and it's taking some getting used to by all drivers. And so one of the concerns, I think, by everyone who's been practicing here this week is just the number of off-track penalties that you can get here, some of which involve pretty severe slowdowns.
Yeah, I do have to say I'm glad that we're starting. I'm looking at the time. It's going to be very close to our Formula One race. I don't think we're going to have any time in between it. But for now, let's see. We do see some guys are getting up to the field.
Yep. Again, for new viewers, this is a 35-minute timed race. And so whoever can cover the distance and finish their last lap after 35 minutes will be the winner.
Yeah, we had some exciting races in Formula 2 with that 35 minutes and 2 pit stops. Because there are some tracks that you can actually do it with 1, but there are not that many of them.
Yeah, and really on a big track like this, I really think it's pretty much impossible. Now, of course, the fact that it is sort of a close call on that does mean that if you want the fuel window for the first refueling opens up very early, say after just 2 or 3 laps. And so that's where possible undercut strategies might come into play for some of these drivers.
Yeah, so here we see Alex Alton on the first position, Dave Pickram after them, Chris Daniel is going to be fast again, Ian Warhol right in that middle fight, Rusty Pontenberg, Barry Stockdale, Scott Allen, good to see him back up here, and we see Clayton Ham, 8th position, amazing, first time not on the oval, has to do a little bit more than just going left, that's a joke for Clayton, but this is looking very good. I'm very curious to see. The lights are going on, Peter. And
they're off.
We are off. Okay. That's the cool thing of this race. A little bit of a smaller pack, so you can really see what's going on. And look at this. Alex Alton is defending on that inside line.
Yeah,
you see Ian
this
Warhol,
T1, particularly at the start, can go 3 wide, and we're seeing that at the front of the field. Oh, and it does look like we have some some accidents back. Oh, Barry Stockdale.
No, Barry just been back, and what happens over there? Let's have a quick look. We do see that they were making some contact on the outside line, but that goes quite fine. We see Joe Zubo gets really pounded from the back, and that means that we already have a first group going on.
Yeah. Boy, that's really unfortunate. And I was just about to say that turn one at the start is pretty terrifying because it just is incredibly wide. There are maybe 3 lines at the start that you can go through there, and the concertina effect can really create some issues.
We're not seeing anything on the moment. My screen doesn't get refreshed.
Oh, looks like we have another issue here with Ian Warhol having spun off, and he's letting fuel go, but no damage. And so that's dropping Ian back to 9th. And so at the front of the field, we have Alex Alton leading the way, followed by Dave Pickram and Chris Daniel. They're in one draft pack. Then Rusty Pontenberg, Joe Zubo, and Kurt Smith following behind them.
Well, my software is going momentarily crazy. We need to look at through the Sunday night Skippy. So maybe you can give us a little bit of a report. We do see getting data back.
Yeah, and so just completing the first lap of the race, Alex Othon in the lead, Dave Pickram, Chris Daniel, Rusty Pontenberg, Joe Zubo. That's your top 5, followed by Kurt Smith, Scott Allen, Melody Chance, Ian Worrell, Justin Diven, and then Clayton Hamberry, Stockdale in the pits in a tow.
Let's have a quick look if we can see if we can do a restart on these things. Look at that, we're back into the field.
Fantastic. And so Dave Pickram is really applying pressure, sitting there right behind the race leader, Alex Alton. And then Chris Daniel is about a second and a half back, just watching him about in front of him. So as they come through this technical section, there's a chicane, and then as you come around, you have these beautiful flowing curves. And they just sometimes take just the slightest lift in order to get the car to pivot. Here's a beautiful one. You can stay in 4th gear through that left. And then at the same time, there are some corners that are just much slower than they look from inside the cockpit.
So Peter, we're currently driving away with Alex Alton and Dave Pickram. Am I correct in that?
Yes, that's right. Yep, Alex Alton and Dave Pickram, they're really making quite a gap to Chris Daniel, now about 2 seconds back. And
but where's Clayton Ham driving?
Clayton Ham, yes.
Clayton Ham, is he ahead? Oh, he's just dropping right now.
Yeah, so Clayton's in the, just going through the chicane and just entering the technical back section of the course.
Well, it's good that we use this SF2 as a good general for doing this in the Formula 1 when we have like 40 cars driving around. I already have difficulties with just these 13. But currently we're driving with the pack, Alex Alton and Dave Pickram. Dave Pickram is taking that inside line. Look at this, really good. Holds it over there. And yeah, as Alex can't do much right there, Chris Daniel is a little bit further behind.
Yeah. Well, Alex and Dave, they're battling, but they're also benefiting from each other's draft. And so I think it's really giving them significant advantage over Chris Daniel, who will have a challenge without the draft to kind of catch up to these folks. As they come through the chicane, again, they'll enter this sort of technical back section of the course. And as I was saying before, it is really one of the places where you can gain and lose quite a bit of time. And it's also a place where you have some pretty persnickety off-track penalties, although I didn't notice any significant slowdowns anywhere.
We're driving away here with Alex Alton. You can see David Pickram. David Pickram has a little bit of a different line, but they're now straight ahead of each other. Very close, 0.4 seconds between them. And behind there is Chris Daniel. He's really a little bit further. We can still see him from Alex Alton, but it's getting a little bit further away.
Yeah, and then that's the last turn 16 that they're coming around to get onto the front straight of the track and cross the start-finish line.
Oh, we do hear sad news for the people who are supporting Kurt Smith. I see that he has been crashed. Let's have a quick look what exactly happened. I think he's driving over here. Oh, gets turned around a little bit.
Yeah.
Luckily, no damage, so he can continue. Let's make sure that we can continue as well.
Okay, yep.
So how is it out with Scott Allen? He's driving along with Rusty Pontenberg and a little bit in a fight.
Yeah, it's actually not a little bit of a fight, but quite a fight, because just ahead of Scott is Rusty, and Rusty is just looking and sticking his nose on the inside and outside of Joe Zubo right ahead of them. What's going to be so interesting, and you're already seeing this on track, is, it's a big enough track that it really invites different lines. There's not just one line. There are several lines that can work, and so I think it's a great test of racecraft, this whole track.
It's an interesting fight here for position number 5. Scott Allen is now also into there, so they're really going ahead with the 3 of them, and Joe Zubo is currently still holding that line. But I'm not sure how long Scott Allen is going to do that, because Scott is really looking behind there.
Yeah, now as they are coming, this is one of several sort of half carousel, half horseshoe or hairpin curves. And what we'll see here is this is an awkward last corner that's sort of in between second and third gear for these Skip Barber cars, and that exit is so important. And so what we'll want to see is if Scott Allen or Rusty Pontenberg get a run on Joe Zubo. It does not look like they will. But it's something to watch, because it's.
Oh well, he goes here. No, he does go here. Look at this. Oh, it makes a really late turn, but Rusty is doing the overcut and immediately takes that position back. That was a nice move, or at least he tried. But Rusty is an old-timer, knows how to do these things, has 4 seasons of practice.
Well, and just that move that Scott Allen made, I saw that numerous times, and in fact tried it myself in practice sessions. Because you're braking really hard from 5th gear all the way down to 1st gear to get the car turned there. And it's, I think, slightly downhill, and so there's less grip than you'd expect.
Yeah, we're driving here a little bit further with Alex Alton and Dave Pickram. I do think that Dave is trying to work a little bit with Alex Alton, because they are trying to run away from Chris Daniel, but I don't think that's going to be that easy. Chris Daniel normally runs with Alex Alton, and he is coming a little bit back. It's 2.1 seconds.
Ian Warhol has recovered a bit from his early spin and is back up to P7 now. Oh, and it's looking like just Rusty Pontenberg has managed to get past Scott Allen and is now running in P4.
Oh, that was a nice move we saw over there. And how is it with our newcomers? We have Melody Change. 8th
Yeah,
position.
Melody Chance. Yeah, she's running a pretty strong, consistent race so far, running in P8. I think what she'll want to do is to try to find a draft partner at some point. The pit window is open also, so sometimes you can make a pit stop in order to kind of change up where you're at with respect to the other traffic.
So that's about Melody. What about Justin Divine or Divin? He's relatively new. I don't think it was his first race over here, but is running right behind there. So maybe that could be a nice pack going on. And then we see, of course, Clayton Ham. Clayton Ham a little further away. You know what his mistake is?
Yeah, Kurt Smith also. Kurt is a lap down, but he's actually now coming into sight of Justin and Melody ahead of him.
Oh, nice. Hey, but to go back to Clayton Ham, did you see his livery? I don't know why these guys are doing it. Like, I'm curious if he's going to finish the race in a Red Bull livery.
Well, a little
Whoa, and look at this. I was thinking of that. What is Clayton doing over here? Spectacular on the straight. On the straight. I just mentioned. No, this is like... This is the Red Bull livery going over there. I have no idea what happened. I am going to go back to that one because I want to see the replay of this version. Where is he? Clayton Ham. I'm going to... Sorry, I need to see this. What happened? He was... On the straight, I think he got trying to make a slip or something.
Boy,
all right, well...
it almost looked like he might have touched the grass at some point and started...
Yes, I'm very curious. I'm going to figure that out tonight, what really happened with Clayton Ham. But on the moment, we do see that Alex Alton just did the fastest lap time over here, a 2:02. We're getting closer to those 2:01s. We're currently still in the 2:02s.
Dave Pickram now is the first of the race leaders to come into pits, and as well as Ian Warhol. And so we're seeing the first refueling stops.
All right.
So Dave Pickram, I think, is officially the new Jake Ashe.
All right. Well, just for one time, because you can't replace a Jake Ashe. And he has only one. We have a couple of drop weeks, so I wouldn't worry too much. Jake will come back to claim his victories. But currently,
and Justin Divin is also in the pits. His fuel stop.
All right. Yeah, we see those guys making that pit stop. We're also 13 minutes into this race, so we can see something like that happening. I do see Chris Daniel can't really get back to Alex Alton. I'm now thinking, weren't they relatives from each other? Weren't they like some sort of family?
That sounds familiar, but you wouldn't guess it from the names. Well, I'll have to...
No, I was just saying, maybe I say this, I say stupid shit anytime. So, but we do have Rusty Pontenberg. Rusty Pontenberg is back up here on the 3rd position, 12 seconds behind Chris Daniel. We're driving a very solid race.
Yeah.
And I know Scott Allen is quick, so I'm curious if he's waiting for him on that part.
Back up at the front, looks like Alex Alton is coming in now for his first refueling stop.
Right, so he's into that pit. Look at how he takes that one, really uses the exit over there.
Chris Daniel right behind him.
Yeah, of course, Chris Daniel goes straight into it as well.
And Rusty Pontenberg.
Why not?
Yep.
Look at that, Rusty.
It's Scott Allen.
Of course. And is Joe Zubo gonna do it? Here we have Joe Zubo. And I want to welcome Melody. Come on, Melody. Are you going to the next door? Takes a little bit longer, but...
yes, Melody Chance is in the pit lane.
Well, then we do see Dave Pickram now coming out over there, and he's really on the long straight already. So I'm curious if he can take this. But it seems that Alex Alton is taking the lead over here. Chris Daniel is running, trying to hold that 2nd position.
Yeah, and so both Chris Daniel came out actually, and Alex Ofan seemed to be the winner. So the undercut did not work out for Dave Pickram, it appears.
No, and now Dave is behind Chris Daniel, but he's really close behind there, so Dan can start making that fight together with Chris Daniel.
Yeah.
And what about Ian Warhol? How was his pit stop? Because he's now right behind Scott Allen. Not a bad person to draft against, I feel.
No, not at all. And Ian has now worked his way back up to P6 because you remember in that lap 1 incident, he had dropped all the way back down to P9. And so he's been just keeping his head down and working his way back up.
Yeah, well, we talked about that. Of course, I'll have to go back to Dave Pickram because he's now really close up into Chris Daniel, trying to make that move, trying to make him look nervous at least. He can't make those moves, but he wants to show his inside.
Yeah, as they come through here, you know, one of the things that I think is right here is you get a few of these straights where you can really take a tight inside line. And in fact, you know, one of the coaching sessions I had this week, Carl Dronke was helping me out. He showed me that you can sometimes, you know, take some of these curves a lot tighter than you would think. You know, I was really emphasizing slow and fast out, you know, trying to take a late apex to get some speed out of these corners onto the long straights. But you know, you don't really need to do that in all of these curves, and so it actually creates more passing opportunities for these Skip Barber cars. And so now we're seeing, you know, Chris chasing down Dave Pickram, but behind them is Rusty Pontenberg, and you know, Rusty's been turning some fast laps. Ian Warhol is now past Scott Allen and is up to 5th place.
It goes quite quick when you look at all these things. We see Chris Daniel up here, really close by Dave Pickram, and Dave Pickram is making his way up to Alex Alton. It was 3.1 seconds, and I do see now it's 2.8 seconds. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting news. Well, we do see something happening with Melody.
Yeah. You know, Justin Diven and Melody Chance are just battling, going side by side through the early part of this track. And boy, you know, welcome to Sunday Night Skippy for both of them.
This is a great way of getting introduced to the Skippy leagues. I remember when I started in my old days when Formula 2 didn't exist, you had to start with Formula 1. Well, I can tell you I was scared in that first race with 38 Skippy drivers.
Yeah.
And this is a great way to get to know everybody and to learn a little bit what the rules really mean to the racing up here. And then again, also 2 pit stops instead of most of the times 1 pit stop. But they're doing a really good job over here, staying really close to each other. Look at that awesome view.
Yeah, this is a great battle. And,
Justin is looking inside. Is he going to take it? He's going to at least make it more difficult.
You know what Melody did there by taking...
Oh, Melody, keep that car, keep that car. And yo, bam! That's a save. Look at that!
Save, but boy, yeah. And, you know, I was just going to say, you know, that kind of middle line through some of those sweeping corners does seem to be pretty good in terms of balancing, you know, speed and keeping a defensive, you know, defending a little bit.
Awesome job of Melody. I'm watching the replay. It's a great way of driving this car. That does mean that Justin Diven is a little bit further ahead.
Yeah.
Let's see how Scott Allen and Ian Warhol are doing.
That's a 9.5 for Melody in any drifting competition.
Yeah, definitely. We are looking now, right now, with Scott Allen and Ian Warhol. Ian Warhol, our champion or our leader in the championship, has a difficult time with Scott Allen. They're fighting it out over here. Look at it, Scott Allen looking on that inside line, but you can't pass over there. Can you, Peter?
No, I think that's really that exit of turn 6. You know, it's first off, that is a really tricky corner. It's a lot faster than you expect. You know, I think most guys are taking it in 4th gear. Some people might drop to 3rd. You had that wide runoff, but it's an off-track penalty, and so you have to be careful. And you can really easily lose the car there, and so that's a tricky spot to try to pass.
Now, while you were talking about that, we do see that Scott Allen is pushing his car to the limits. He wants to pass Ian Warhol, and he doesn't take no for an answer. Look at this. Oh man, his tires were really screeching, but he takes the corner in here. Is he going to fix that? He's going to keep it. Nice work from Ian Warhol as well to keep the car over there. Better position, so he can take this inside again. And Ian Warhol needs to start from the beginning.
Boy, that is that's some great driving for both of them.
Yeah, looks really close up here. There's even a closer fight. We also have the Chris Daniel with Rusty Pontenberg for that 3rd position. They are not catching up with Dave Pickram. I think Dave Pickram is really choosing to drive his own race and see if he can catch up with Alex Alton. But Chris Daniel...
Yeah, I'm showing Chris Daniel is actually in Dave Pickram's draft.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. And so again, we've seen this in some of the other races. Chris Daniel is really fast, but he's also a really patient driver. And so, you know, there's still 11 minutes, 12 minutes left in this, more than 12 minutes left in the race. And so Chris is oftentimes someone who, especially on a track where draft counts for a lot like this, is someone who's oftentimes willing to be a little bit patient before making a move.
Yeah, Chris Daniel is driving over here in the 3rd position. We are looking. It's good to see that you can see all the cars over there. You're not. Yeah. You shouldn't worry. You see that Dave Pickram is really biting in to Alex Alton's time. I think Alex is going to get a little bit worried.
Well, and that's the other advantage of Chris being patient here, you know, because he knows that both he and Dave need to close the gap to Alex Alton, and so it looks like they're successfully doing that. Oh, and Chris Daniel is coming in for his 2nd pit stop. So it looks like Chris is going to attempt the undercut now.
And of course, Chris Daniels is following him right over there.
Yeah, and Alex Alton, Chris Daniel, and so this might kick off the 2nd round of refueling stops for a lot of these drivers.
Obviously, Dave Pickram in the lead. Rusty Pontenberg is going to go on that 2nd position.
Yeah, Clayton Ham's in the pit lane now. Kurt Smith is in.
I haven't heard much from Barry Stockdale. How's Barry Stockdale doing on that 10th position?
Yeah, well, you know, Barry had that unfortunate, you got, you know, a little tangled up in that first lap incident, but he's been keeping it pretty strong and steady since then, and he's running in P10. He has a fast lap in the mid 203s, and so he's showing some speed.
I love the delivery of his car.
Oh yeah.
The angry bee. Because you can clearly see he's angry. But he will need to push a little bit harder to get up to Melody, who's in that 9th position. How's time-wise going on with Justin? Can we have a quick look if we can see a little bit? Always good to see those laps.
Yeah. Well, and Justin's having a good outing. He's running 8th right now.
Yeah, and he's going quicker every lap.
That's right.
So
you can just see the comfort level there is going up.
Yeah, that's going really well. And what about Ian Warhol? Ian Warhol's on the 3rd position right now. He's getting really close to Rusty Pontenberg.
Yeah, Dave Pickram's in the pit now.
Man, I'm scared for the racing with 40 drivers. I can't keep up with just these 13.
So I'm watching now. Alex Alton is coming down to the last corner, and so it'll be interesting to see how he makes out, whether he comes out ahead or behind Dave Pickram.
Well, we can see it over here. We do see in the corner Alex Alton is going on ahead. I don't think he's going to make it. No, Alex Alton is way ahead of them. I even think that Chris Daniel is going to take that position. And there is David Pickram coming out of the pit.
Yep. And so again, it's a second time, Pim, that we've seen just a big kind of reshuffling of the running order due to these pit stops.
Yeah, very interesting to see.
Yep. We have Rusty Pontenberg, Joe Zubo, Melody Chance, all also in the pits. Joe Zubo is just coming out now. So we have just over 8 minutes left in the race, and pretty much all of the drivers should be good in fuel, except for Justin Diven, who's running in 4th place right now, but has made only one refueling stop.
Yeah, and Alex has really driven away now from Chris Daniel. It's 2.8 seconds, and without Dave Pickram in his back, or at least helping him, I do think it's going to be difficult to catch up with him.
Yeah, it's.
How about Ian Warhol?
Yeah, you know, everyone is sort of kind of out on their own a little bit. Ian, you know, is chasing down Scott Allen right now, and so maybe that's going to give those two cars a little bit of a chance. You know, Scott's running in 5th place, Ian in 6th place. Ian about 3/4 of a second behind Scott. And then, but otherwise, we have a pretty spread out field. Just looking behind here, Melody Chance and Rusty Pontenberg have caught up with each other. They're running P8 and P9. And so this will be another test for Melody. We know how fast Rusty is, but Melody's showing an ability to really defend her position. And so it'll be interesting to see how this goes.
I'm very curious to see how much defending she will do, and we do going to see that right up here. Rusty is going to take that outside line and is making that move, but I don't think he's going to stick that way. And I don't think Melody was really scared by it, because no changes over here. Look at that.
Yeah.
Holds the line.
And you know, that right there was another prime passing opportunity. And as we come right down here, there's really no chance at that point.
No chance, and look at this. Rusty is taking a complete different line to get a better exit over there. Is getting really close right now, and he's going to make that move. He's going to make that move. Is he going to get it sticked? Yes, he does that. But also a great way of Melody giving room over there. And look at this. Goes straight behind it, knows how this tactic works, and draft goes away.
Yeah, that's fantastic driving on both Melody and Rusty's parts, and so good on them.
Yeah, and it's going to be it's going to be fun because Justin
wants position back going into turn 1.
Oh, look at this. Oh, I actually went back to the leaders, but I do see that this fight has not finished.
No.
Look at this, awesome. But Rusty is on the inside. All right, Melody.
Yeah, so now here,
let us go to number 5.
Flat out section right about here. And and it looks like Rusty's gotten a little bit of a better run on that, and so that'll be tough to catch up with now, since it's essentially a long flat-out section.
Yeah, so we're gonna go one fight up. That's Scott Allen with Ian Warhol now for that 4th position. They've been battling the whole race already. We do see that. Go ahead.
Tim, I'm noticing up front, Chris Daniel has overtaken Alex Alton, and I don't know if we missed a bobble by Alex.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna blame Melody. This was like we were just interested in the fights. Let's have a quick look if I can see that coming back. Yes, I do have some memory from there. Let's have a quick look if we can see what actually happens.
There must have been some issue or even maybe an off-track slowdown penalty for Alex.
Well, it looks that he just gets him on the last straight and really goes for that. And Alex Alton just can't hold that, but he's still there. All the chances are still there, but it's great to see that Dave Pickram over Chris Daniel is now in the lead.
Yeah.
Constantly different leaders.
There are a few, like the Red Bull Ring, there are a few off-track corners that do impose time penalties, 1 or 1.5 second time penalties. And so, if I had to guess, I'd wager that Alex Alton hit one of those.
Well, and the fight in the back is also not over. I do see that Rusty Pontenberg made a slider over here, and Joe Zubo immediately went back to get his position. But curious if Melody is coming back on this one.
Yeah, looks like she has closed up a little bit of a gap there, and so.
And now we have the fight with Ian Warhol. Ian Warhol is getting done with Scott Allen, but that's going to be difficult. Look at this. Scott Allen really takes that wide.
Boy. It's it's going to be tough, and so that's a great battle between those two. They're running virtually identical lap times.
We do see Alex Alton going into the pit again. What's this?
I wonder why.
This was not in my book.
This is his third stop, and it must be a slowdown penalty. It's or a pit lane violation? What's going on here?
I have no idea, but that makes the case completely different, because now we see Chris Daniel running all by himself.
You know, that looks to me like a pit speed violation on Alex Alton. And
yeah,
so
no,
right.
Definitely.
Yeah, that now leaves Chris Daniel free and clear. He's a full 2 seconds ahead of Dave Pickram.
Yeah, but he's not there yet. We do see that Dave Pickram has fought his way up to the front many times in this race. Look at this, he's so close behind him, he can see him. And he's definitely gaining time on him.
Yeah, but I think the next time around, past the start-finish line, we'll start the white flag lap, the last lap of the race, because we are coming up on the 34-minute mark.
Oh, we do see that Ian Warhol and Scott Allen has crashed. We were waiting for it. They were fighting a long time. And here you see the incident coming up. Ian Warhol takes full the back of Scott Allen. And they're basically making out on the track. Scott Allen doesn't want anything to do with that and leaves the track. And Ian Warhol stays alone behind him.
That'll be one for the stewards to take a look at.
Yeah, I don't think Dave Pickram and... Yeah, go ahead.
Chris Daniel is now passing start-finish line and has received the white flag, so we are on the last lap of the race now.
So can you make up 1.6 seconds behind Chris Daniel? That's the case that we're now looking at David Pickram. Is he able to do that? Looking at the last lap, no, he's not able to do that. They basically run the same times. So this is going to be interesting to see. Is Chris Daniel going to hold up?
Yeah. And so he's looking pretty steady so far, and continuing to maintain now a 1.6 second lead over Dave Pickram.
Yeah, and Dave Pickram goes there off track, really pushes his car, and he is going 2/10 quicker, but I don't think it's enough, or is it? Is he going to make some extra moves? He's 1.3 seconds ahead. Look at this, off track there again. He's pushing his car to the limit.
Yeah, he's caught up another 2/10.
We do see that Clayton Ham in the back has crashed, but for now we're staying up here in the front. 1.3 seconds. Chris Daniel, can you hold your nerves up here?
looks like Chris is feeling the pressure too. He had a little bit of a wiggle on the exit of that turn, but is looking steady here. This is the last sort of very risky corner, and Chris looks.
Look at this, but Dave Pickram is going to come into the draft. Is this going to make a difference? Can you make it up in the draft in this last little piece? David Pickram is fighting till the end. Look at that. 0.9 seconds. We're going 0.8 seconds. He is going to come over there. If he gets this corner right. If he gets this corner right. We do see Chris Daniel slipping out a little bit. Dave Pickram is pushing his car till the end. But he's not making that. He's not making it.
And what a great drive by Chris Daniel and Dave Pickram.
Awesome job. And what about Alex Alton? He had a penalty. I still remember that he left the pit as fourth, but he's already back up to third position as well. Driving really as a fun drive. As Ian Warhol 5 seconds behind him, so he can finish on this third position. Probably not the place that he wanted, but the place that he got after that penalty. And look at this, he celebrates. He's happy with that third position. And then we have Ian Warhol right behind there. Had a big incident with Scott Allen. But yeah, that was unfortunate. Luckily he could continue to drive. Joe Zubo on the 5th position. Rusty Pontenberg is going a little bit more in the back. So that's Rusty Pontenberg. Then we have Melody Chance just behind there. Look at this, and just behind there we have Justin Diven. Also taking that last corner. Barry Stockdale, good to have him back.
Absolutely.
And I have always a lot of respect for people who keep driving the car, even when things are not going well. We have Kurt Smith up here, finishing his first race. Congratulations, Kurt, 10th position. And I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next race. Clayton Ham, too bad he didn't finish that race, but wow. Boy, it was an amazing race to see.
It was, and it actually, taught me a few things as I get ready to jump into the SF1 race. And so...
Oh no, I'm so curious. Yeah, well, you get ready for this race. I want to thank you, Peter. We'll definitely have a look out for you. I have some special guests coming up, so that will be awesome. We see up here Chris Daniel, first position, is the winner of our race here at this Sunday Night Skippy Formula 2. We have Dave Pickram, Alex Alton, Ian Warhol. Ian Warhol, 4th position, nice comeback. Joe Zubo, who always makes our standings and is always busy behind the scenes on a 5th position. Really a great job. And there we have the rest of the field. So amazing to see this first race. We're going to go for a little break. It's not going to be the 15 minutes, just want to make you guys aware. But the race will start, I think, in around 7 minutes. So we will see you up then.
Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks a lot. Looks like we're going to have a good fun race. This is such a hoot of a track to drive on, and it is causing some of the more experienced drivers more than a little bit of issue.
Yeah.
Yep, we're currently in qualification. Leo in the front with a 201.430, average speed of 188. Okay,
Oh,
sorry to stop you there a minute,
yeah,
Pim. I'm getting from.
I hear it. I can see it.
yeah,
I'm back.
yeah. Okay.
Well, guys, that was in lap time. It's always nice with all these buttons up here. Forgot to mute myself, but this was a lap with Verstappen compared to Leo, where basically I think what you can see is that Leo didn't need the whole track, and Verstappen was using a lot of the exits. But how is it going currently with qualification?
Looks like quali's finished, and we've got a grid. And Jeffrey Decker has taken P1. Leo's in P2, Peter Nodwell P3, Jeff Snavely in P4. That makes up your first and second row. Third row is Mike Bowers and Pete Broughton. Fourth is Gurkan Demir and Andy Au. Fifth is JR Hoops and Max de Guacamo. And on the sixth line, in 11th and 12th, is Scott Bell and Carl Dronke.
Nice.
Step down.
Yeah, let's continue. We don't see them yet. I think there's still some discussions going on, so maybe we can go to the next sections.
So we've got Dave Pickram and Michael McLeod. In 15th is Andrew Cole. Alan Paris is 16. Josh Dancer is 17, which is unusual. You didn't expect to see Dancy so far back. Dockery is 18th. Benjamin Harris is 19. Aaron Lahr is 20th. And then in 21st, down is Thomas Fotos, Darren Chernick, Brian Perez, Jeff Torbeck, Sean Ross, Rusty Pontenberg, Chris Gorgon Dallas is in 27th. Jason Berkheimer, Steve Durr, only down in 29th. I don't know what happened there. Chris Daniel in 30th. Charlie McCarthy in 31st. Peter Lee in bringing up the back on position 32. And Pim, it looks like you entered as a racer today.
Exactly, and that's the reason why I can't see the qualification. I was trying to avoid that, but I think we managed quite nicely over here. So that's going to be an interesting part over here. Curious, all those drivers. Jeffrey actually beating Leo in that qualification. We don't see that much.
No, we don't. But before we quite get to that, I do need to just come up with one last thing on that really cool video that you pulled together for us, Pim, which I thought was pretty awesome. And being, you know, a Dutchman and a big Max Verstappen fan, my question is, are you going to go and tell Max that he's slower than Leo, who was driving a Skippy on the same track as him?
Well, no, I'm not going to show that. I do want to say that I did slow down Verstappen's lap a little bit. And to make sure that we could see the corners, I wanted to see the different lines in there. So eventually Leo is not that quick in a skip that he can actually pack his bags and see if he can be successful in the Formula One. But no, so I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah.
It looks like Josh is finishing up explaining all the rules and regs to our teams here, and they should be getting ready to get going just now.
Awesome.
Yeah, guys, I was riding along with Jeffrey Decker and a couple of the other guys during qualifying. With this being obviously my first race in this league for the Skippy, it was pretty crazy to just constantly hear the high RPMs these guys are always running. It's definitely a lot more optimal than what I was at. Yeah,
well, don't be scared if you see 40 Skippies coming towards you. That's quite normal up here. We do see Peter Lee all the way to the back. I'm curious what's going to happen. I think we have everybody already on the starting grids, which is awesome to see that. They are revving up a little bit.
We've got some team supporters in the house right now. Team El Gato con la Pipa. And we've also got Team Wonka.
All right, well, the lights are going on, and Jeffrey does take a very good start up here. Immediately goes to that exit, to that outside line, and Leo is right behind him. And look at that, Peter Nordwil. We see so many different drivers. Looks like everything goes quite clean here. You see a little bit of a delay. Rusty Pontenberg has to hold up, but looks like everybody's going through. Look at this, a nice drive over here.
3 wide down in P13 through that last
Leo's
corner.
taking the lead.
Okay, Leo has taken the lead, and Peter Notwell right behind him. Then Jeff Sneffley, Mike Bowers, Piet Brotten, Gurken Gemeer on the 7th position. We see Scott Bell back in 11th position. Yeah, now you see that things will get a little bit more tighter over here. We see Scott Bell making a move. Is he going to get it sticking to on that inside line? Look at this, how busy it is. And Peter is also still driving there on the back.
Oh, we have some contact. P23 Brian Perez into the wall almost.
Oh, we see there a lot of people going off track. Let's have a quick look what happened. Because I think something big was up there. Oh no, it's just a regular off track over there.
Yeah, that's one of the things with this track. It's very, very wide, but it is very easy to get an off track. You know, just by putting a wheel just very slightly out offline. But we're just about to finish our first lap, being led through by Leo, closely followed by Decker, Nodwell, Snavely, Bowers, Mabrotten, Demir, Al, Hoops. Al's popped into the pit lane, so he must be serving a penalty, I think. I'm not really sure.
No, not sure about that, but it is a long straight already. Leo taking that lead.
It does show that Andy Allen's black flag at the end of qualifying.
Right. Well, yeah, I think he had a drive-through penalty. He's now back out on track in position 19, so he's dropped a few places, but it's changed the top 10 a little bit, which is now Leo, Decker, Nodwell, Snavely, Bowers, McBroughton, Demir, Hoops, Guacamo, and Carl Dronke with Scott Bell in P11.
So he didn't make that move yet on Carl Dronke, but I do see that JR Hoops is looking to have a fight with Max. And Max is taking that position really nice right in front of Carl Dronke, but Carl Dronke is taking advantage of that part, has a better line over here. Is he going to make that move? Yes, he's going to make that move quite nicely. Is he going to hold that move? He does.
That's one of the things. It's easy to sometimes close up on someone and grab the position. It's a whole nother ball game to keep it once you're straightened out. And the top 5 are starting to tighten up just a little tiny bit. Still led by Leo, but Decker is breathing his exhaust fumes, and the
Decker
other
may
3.
have a run here.
Yeah, we see Leo here in the front, Jeffrey Decker right behind, Peter Notwell also doing really well, and Jeff Snavely is holding on over there. And then what about Mike Bowers? Last race did an awesome job. Is also back there on 5th position with Pete McBroughton right in the back of his car.
Well, I mean, Bowers is less than a second behind Snavely, so he's now going to be picking up that tow as well. And McBroughton is right behind him, again less than a second back, so he's also going to be taking advantage of that tow, as is Gurkan Demir. So all of them should be closing back up with that front pack over the next lap or so, once they don't do anything silly, because they are all in the draft. Although Bowers has dropped back, he's now 1.2 out, so he's going to need to do a bit of work to catch back up into there.
Yeah, and what about that pack on the back with Recalls leading? You have Max, JR Hoops, Scott Bell, Dave Pickram, Michael Mccloud, and Recall. It's one big group over here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a big gap between P7, Gurkan Demir, and then Dronke. He's got almost 2.5 seconds on him, causing a little bit of space there. But everybody is still very, very close together in this race, and it's looking really good.
A question I have for you guys here is the pack led by Carl Dronke? If that is, am I saying that correct there? Dronke, are they just all working together at this point, trying to catch back up to the leaders, or are they fighting hard for position?
That's an interesting question. Ian, what do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is a tough track to quote unquote work together. You do have a couple of biggish straights, but the corners going in and coming out are usually quite technical. And so you've got to be careful, because people do run very, very different lines. I mean, some corners have got, a couple of different lines through there, which means that people's exit speeds are going to be very, very different, and it makes it challenging to drive close to someone. But yeah, I think there's every opportunity for them to work together and pull themselves back up. But what they have to do is the person in the back has to catch up to the person in front and pass them cleanly to pull them forward for the next
and Ian, I think what you're telling is exactly happening right now. You need to communicate with everybody, and that's not happening. So then you see Wild Gooses coming over, and while you see that up here, awesome move. Who was that who was passing JR Hoops? That's of course Dave Pickram. Did already awesome in the SF2 race and is up here again really doing well. But we do see Carl Dronke and Max driving away a little bit from this group. Scott Bell is now the leader of this group and need to get them back.
For sure. And they got to work hard at that. I mean, Dronke's now 3 seconds back behind Demir. And so I'm wondering if he and Max are working together or fighting with each other at this point in time. And Dronke's, you just need to keep an eye on him, see if he's running a bit more of a defensive line through some of these corners to sort of just keep Max back behind him.
Yeah, well,
I think-
you have a look on that, because I want to know that. I'm really curious. I know Max as a real fighter, but that's when he's in the back and he wants to go to the front. I do know that Carl, you can trust in these drives. So curious what they're doing. I want to have a quick look for Peter. Peter is all the way on the back over here. Always like how well he wants to race these races. He knows he's not quick, but he enjoys this so much.
Well, big shout out for Pete, and I'm sad that he's not in the booth, but I'm glad he's having a chance to have a bit of a boot around the track, do a bit of racing here.
Yeah, I think it's very great that we still have that many people here in the booth coming over. We do see now that Leo and Jeffrey, together with Peter and Jeff, are running away. Curious if Mike Bowers has some extra things to catch up. We do see that Leo just posted a 2:00.0 time.
That's pretty. That's really quick. That's really quick. It'd be really cool if we get that into 19s, 1.9s. That would be amazing.
Right now,
Well,
for
the
Pete,
car
there's
is only getting
4
lighter.
loops.
Oh, and Dronky makes a big mistake on turn 1, and Max closes right up into the back of him. Dronky catches the car and keeps it in front, but only just.
Oh, and there goes.
Again. And Max goes through.
Yeah, and that also means that Scott Bell is now in that group. And this is where you see they're not working together. It's all for themselves. Now, can you be at that a little front pack? Can you be with the Max group? Yes, you can. Well, then Scott Bell is joining over there, leaving Michael Mccloud and JR Hoops behind them. Well, we do see that in the back.
On the back of Max, however, Carl is right there driving towards him.
It's so
Maybe back
entertaining
there.
seeing how they're just throwing the car into the corner and sticking it, and almost getting side by side throughout.
Pete Broughton is working on the back of Mike Bowers, who's dropped back off of the pack in front of him. He's down almost a second and a third. He's down 1.7 on Snavely. And he loses it going into corner, and Pete Broughton takes advantage and powers past him down into the last big hairpin. And so does Demir. Demir also takes Bowers, slides past, and starts working on the back of Snavely to see if they can catch back up there.
PA Carl Dronky is really just trying to work so hard to get around Max, and now Scott Bell might be having to look down the inside coming into this last corner.
Yeah, we're driving away with Pete Broughton, who now is the lead of that little pack. Can he make that turn up to Jeff Snavely?
Oh my goodness me, have you seen the time that Jeff has just set? A 2.00.82. The times are dropping. I mean, this is ridiculous. That is so fast. And Nodwell's dropped Snavely off the back. It's just barely on the cusp. Keeps dropping back to just over a second. And it looks like if Pete doesn't, if Jeff doesn't get a move on, he's going to be losing those three in front of him. He really needs to get his foot down to catch back up to the back of Peter Nodwell, who's driving a really, really good race in third.
Yeah, Jeff is losing that a little bit. You're right on that. We see that over here. And that's that desperation. When you also see that Pete Broughton is getting closer to Jeff Snavely.
Yeah, Pete's almost 2 seconds back, and Jeff has just got within a second of Nodwell, so he's now going to be picking up that draft again, which helps even on corners. I mean, it doesn't matter which part of the track you're on. Having someone pumping that hole in front of you does give you just that little extra speed to keep things going. So he's just got in there, and Pete is just about 2 seconds, just over 2.1 seconds back from the back of Snavely. So we'll see. And oh my God, Pete Nodwell makes a bit of a mistake in what's that, turn 14, just before the last corner, and Snavely catches right up to him. And now Nodwell is now almost a second back from Decker, so he's now thinking that he needs to put a move on that, so he stays within And the gap and the times go down again. We've got a 2.00.743 by Leo. Are we going to see a 1.99999?
It's fun that you keep saying that, because it is really impressive how they make these times. I do think that Peter Notwell is dropping off a little bit, has difficulties to follow. So I think he will stay a little bit more with Jeff Snavely. And Pete Broughton is also, is he getting closer? 2.6 seconds. Let's keep an eye of if that team is really coming back to it as well.
Oh, P8 Max, Max Giacomo makes a big mistake and has to check up. That puts Carl Dronke back down to maybe P11, P12 at the back of that little pack.
Yeah, Carl is now running behind Scott Bell, who is in P10. So Scott is now up to the into the top 10.
Yeah, but he does have Carl Dronke behind him, so that's not going to finish just yet. We are only 30 minutes in this race. It's a 45-minute race. Does that automatically means we have 2 pit stops?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that's going to be very exciting.
Even in our 35-minute race, we ended up with 2 pit stops, so they are definitely going to have 2 pit stops. Our second one was a bit of a splash and dash, so depending on how much gas you can save, you can make your second pit stop, maybe even you actually can make your first pit stop quite short, and use that to catapult you up the order a little bit. Because if you look at the track map, I don't know if you can pop the track map up, Pin. You can see all of the drivers are still very close together on the track.
Yeah, we do have
guys,
to...
I think the fight for this mid pack with Max is allowing the pack of JR Hoops and Joshua Dancy to pick right back up.
And Decker sets at 2:00.515. We're getting closer and closer. Nodwell is now over a second back off the back of Decker, who is in second place.
Yeah, we do have our first pit person. Jonathan Dockery goes into the pit.
Now this is going to be interesting. Let's see. Now Jonathan's going to come out in clean air. There's going to be absolutely no one anywhere near him. He's starting to leave the pits now. So he's going to come out in last place, but in clean air. Oh wait, who's that just passing him?
You see also Peter Lee and Jeff Torbeck also going into the pit. So that does give the signal to the front that it is maybe possible to go for a pit. I am curious if we're going to see some tactics over here. Is Leo just going to drive to the end on the front, or is he going to make a move to Jeffrey?
Well, this is going to be interesting to see. They are on lap 8, so the refueling window is open. So let's see if I can. Yeah, it's going to be. And Jonathan is still in the pits. Is that right?
I've just heard over the mic that Max is coming in this lap for his pit stop.
Max de Guacamo.
Yep.
Well, and what is Pete Broughton then going to do? He is always very good in those tactics, and he's currently carrying Gherkin and Mike Bowers, towing them around. Maybe he also goes in.
Looks like the 2 leaders, followed by Peter Nodwell, are pitting now, followed by Pete as well.
Look at this. As I said, Pete Broughton is going to go for that earlier pit stop. I won't say the earliest pit stop. Right behind him, we see more people. We see Gherkin Demir, Max. Dave Pickham is also in the pit. JR Hoops is in the pit.
But
Who is
Carl
not in the
Dronke
pit?
and Scott Bell are doing a much different strategy here as they jump now into 3rd and 4th. So now it's Snavely, Bowers, Bell, Dronke, Dancy, Cole, Harris. And then it's the next person out of the pits. Who's that going to be? That's Steve Duer. And then Rusty Pontenberg, Berkheimer, McCarthy in P12. George and Dallas in P13. And then Leo has come out in P14. Decker in P15. Andy Au in P16. Nodwell in P17. And Pete Mulroney in P18. So looks like it's going to change up that front pack just a little bit.
So that probably means that Jay Snavely, who's running now all alone by himself in the front, will have to pit quite soon as well, not to be a victim of a big undercut. And Mike Bowers on the second position, 4.8 seconds behind there.
We're being told that Mike Mccloud pitted on lap 5 very early. So that's an interesting possibility for him. But did he pit or did he have a little problem? I'm trying to look here to see if I can see. I've got him almost a lap down on everybody else at the moment, but my stats sometimes are not the best. So
currently he's in position number 21. But here we do see Jeff Snavely coming into the pit. As we predicted, he needs to make sure that he doesn't get undercut by the rest of the field. I am very curious to see where he's going to end up compared to all the others. Leo, Jeffrey.
Scott and Dronky are both in the pits now.
And Scott Bell, don't send it in the pit entry, but he is in there as well. And who's not? Carl Dronky is in there, Joshua Dempsey, Andrew Cole, Aaron Lay, Benjamin Harris, also in there, running on that
Steve
7th position.
Dewar. Why isn't Steve Dewar going in pits? That's surprising to me.
Rusty Pontenberg is taking the full course over there.
McCarthy, and then, so Leo is now going to be back into P1 as he passes all these guys in the pits and cycles back up.
Yeah, and where do we see Jeff Snavely? Jeff Snavely is coming out, but he's going to go behind Peter Notwell. So is he going to grab that draft? Because that's where he was when he was before the pit stops. And it seems that there's not much changed.
No, it looks like they've kind of kept their position. So Leo, Jeffrey, Peter Nodwell, Jeff Snavely, Pete McBroughton is now in P5. So he's actually managed to climb up in that pit stop with Gurkan Demir right behind him. And Mike Bowers has dropped to P7 with Mike de Guacamo right behind him. So it has shaken up that front pack a bit. But if you look at the gaps now, you've got Leo followed by Decker. Then you've got a almost 3 second gap to Nodwell, who's followed by Snavely. Then you've got a 1.5 second gap to Pete McBroughton, who's followed by Demir. So there's almost like, 1, 2, 3 groups of 2 sitting there at the front that are in each other's draft. And if they work, but they need to start working together.
Yeah, no one really wants to play with Mike Bowers. He's behind there all by himself. He needs to catch up because then he can actually do that as well. Are there any more interesting fights?
Right Mike Bowers. I mean, if de Guacamo and Bowers work together, they have an opportunity to
definitely. Let's go a little bit further in the back. We see on the 17th position Sean Ross fighting with Aaron Lay and Steve Durr. Interesting to see. Great how close they drive over there.
And I mean, if you look just ahead of them, there's an awful lot of cars right there. So Steve is almost 10 seconds back behind Aaron La. I'm not sure why that's such a huge gap, but there's Aaron, Sean Ross, Benjamin Harris, Andrew Cole, Aaron Paris, and Josh Dancy are all together in a little group.
Yeah, and then for position number 20, we see Jeff Torbeck fighting with Jason Bergmeyer. Steve Durr is right in front of them.
And Rusty Pontenberg is close there as well. So
yeah, Michael Mccloud, P9, making a move to the inside of Max in the first turn.
But is Max taking that back? Because Max is known not to shy away from risk. So I'm very curious what's going to happen over here. Good call out. Let's follow those guys. Because Max is most of the times immediately coming back.
This battle could also give some time to Carl Dronke behind.
Very well done. And we see that Max is making that move over here. Or at least making some moves. But he can't get that to stick.
Snavely and Nodwell have continued to drop back off the back of Decker and Ovecharo. The gap there is now almost 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Leo and Jeffrey have found working together is the best way. I am curious because I do have to say we've seen this now for 2-3 races where Leo is just in the front and Jeffrey comes in last lap and steals the win away. I'm curious if there's going to be any tactics from Leo coming out of this.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, they're nose to tail, and they're just sitting in front of everybody else. So
Max is really on the limit, trying to catch back up to Michael Mccloud and get that P7 back.
Yeah, and sometimes when you push too much, you actually lose time. You need to have that smoothness in this car. You can't just keep pushing it around. But currently, Max is trying to get back, but I feel that he's a little bit falling back of Michael Mccloud.
Yeah,
but we do have a straight
definitely
over
losing
here.
time from the car ahead, but I know from my short time of experience, the draft is very powerful in these cars.
I was waiting for Ian to come up with the latest time of Jeffrey. Have you seen what he has driven in the last round?
yeah, Leo just did a 2.00.42. Jeffries was a 2.00.35, but it wasn't clean. So
these guys are amazing. Look at that.
I really want to see. I'm cheering for a 2 point, a 1 point, a 1 point, I don't know.
Well, it's the race. It's the race within the race because we of course also want to see some real good fights. And on the moment, Jeffrey is taking it very easy and just waiting for his time. Leo is so quick. Look at that. Hey, what about the number 15 position, Andrew Cole? I haven't talked much about him yet. He's up there fighting with, what is it? Adam Paris, Benjamin Harris, Sean Ross. Well, you guys don't see an interesting fight over there. Maybe we have some other things going on. Gurk in the Mir on position number 6.
Phenomenal.
Maybe
spread out now.
Gurkin may be looking to set up a move into turn 1 here. I would just be looking to be smooth and maybe send one down the inside of T1 with the draft.
Well, and we were making fun of Bowers not playing by himself, but look at that. He's also completely back in this race again with them in front of them.
Yeah, it looks like Gurkin could be just in time to make a move down the inside in turn 1, but
no, he's not going to do that. He's not
just a little too far behind. Yep.
No, he's not going to. The thing is that's going to slow you down, and this is the group that now actually wants to go ahead. They see people not well. They see Jeff Snavely. They know if they work together, they can keep it calm. And what better than Pete Broughton to lead you towards them, or at least that's how I see it. Ian, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it is key. You do have to work with someone if you're trying to catch up with a group that are faster than you, because with the draft, you get an extra 3-4 miles an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot, but you keep adding that in lap after lap, and you soon whittle down the distance between you and that faster group in front of you. But you do have to work together, and it means that the person that you're driving with has to pass you without you slowing down to let them through. And the straight is maybe just about long enough if you are within about 2/10. If you're within about 2/10 of the person in front of you as you come out of the final turn onto that straightaway, you can definitely draft past them. If you're within 2 to 3/10, going down into that very, very heavy braking zone, I'm trying to think what the turn number is. It's probably turn 13. You can also pass right there. That's one of my favorite passing places. But you have to allow that person to pass. You have to give them the space, and then use your draft. Now you draft them and get over in front and drag them forward. As Decker sets a 2:00.358.
P8, Michael Mccloud jumping into the pits, looking to continue his undercut on his short fuel.
Yeah, let's look. He was with Mike Bowers and Max up there. Curious to see if that really works. He probably has the data. I know that Michael is always thinking about pit stop strategies and is doing it all manual while other people are using software. He's still from old school, so curious to see if it really works for him.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I think that a good strategy here could give you a bit of a jump. So let's see. They're all going to have to pit again. So let's see where what happens. It's going to be interesting.
I'm just thinking, I miss Adam Wright. Where's Adam Wright?
Yeah, Adam. I don't think Adam's racing tonight, is he?
No, that's what. No. I figured that one out, but that was a shock for me because I saw Leo is there, Jeffrey is there, and then suddenly I was like, hey, Adam is not there. And we do see a move coming up here with Benjamin Harris, Alan Paris. Awesome move from. Yeah, that was Sean Ross who makes that move over there onto Aaron.
Nicely done.
Wow, it's crazy for P1. Jeffrey Decker and Leo have just been nose to tail for what seems to be the whole race.
Yeah, you can just glue these ones together. And I do have to say, if I was Jeffrey, I would do the same thing. Because it ain't worth it to fight with Leo. He is quick. He's very, very, very quick. It wasn't an accident that I choose his racing video to compare against Max Verstappen. That guy is phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel like if Jeffrey fights against him, he might just end up losing too much time and maybe lose the draft. But
oh, we see Peter Broughton.
Decker just did go onto the inside here.
Oh, we do see that. That's a really good call out because I missed that. I was actually going to Peter Broughton who's going into the pit. But we do see that Leo has given or has not defended that position, and Jeffrey Decker is for the first time, we're 30 minutes into this race, on that pole position back. Look at that.
Wow, that was a good move. You got Jeff Snavely just running by himself. Oh, scratch that. You got Peter Nodwell maybe looking to make a move in the chicane almost. Coming up as Peter leaves this existence and comes right back. Or Jeff.
Peter Broughton is now getting out of the pit and has a tough one over there. But can get ahead of Jeff Torback. And now it's get back to plan. Right, so let's go back to the leaders, because now we will see if Jeffrey Decker and Leo are going into the pit. This is going to be all strategy.
Yeah, it's going to be, that's for sure, and it's going to be like, how quickly can you make this pit stop? It's an interesting pit to get into. You speed too much, you end up crashing. So, and don't ask me how I know this.
So Ian, what would you do if you're now Jeffrey? You're in the lead. You don't want to have that undercut. What do you do?
Hard one. I mean, we were at 30 minutes. You've got 15 minutes still to go. Would probably pit. And he is. Oh, no, he's not. Nope. He's going out. Yeah, I think I would probably take the chance, pit, grab some fuel. But it's such a toss-up, right? Because, I mean, he is now almost 3.5 seconds in front of P3.
Yeah, back in P8, Max has actually lost so much time that Carl Dronka has overtaken him for the position.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. It's a very tough one because now Leo is fuel saving behind Snavely, as Gurkan Demir just does his own personal fastest lap. There's a 2:01:03.03.
Yeah, you see that.
Leo may have a run going into this corner up here, the left-hander.
Yeah, he does. And Jeffrey just.
Oh, he runs way wide. That'll be a slowdown for him.
Now he's going to get a slowdown now.
Well,
which, look at that. Jeffrey is just gapping him now.
Yeah, he's really going to want to push now, I would think.
Oh, so suddenly. So this what we were waiting for. Jeffrey was waiting for Leo to make that mistake. It felt a little bit like he was blinking, and maybe that made a mistake. But we do see that there's a big gap, 0.7 seconds is that gap right now. Is Leo coming back?
Oh yeah, you can't count him out. Leo's
Yeah,
so
he'll be right back in it, I think.
A lot of people trying that undercut jumped into the pits and are working their way back out now. Leo is blinking.
Leo's still lagging a little bit there.
Yeah, and I do
Yeah.
think last race he also had an issue on that. Let's hope that it's not happening again. Currently he is losing time on Jeffrey. He's actually going into the
Leo
pit.
is
Diving
going
into
into
the
the pits. Leo's going into the pits and Jeffrey is staying out. So here we go. Here's some strategy going on, boys and girls.
All right, this is the first time. Look at that, how he takes that pit exit or entry. He really uses everything. Don't get that penalty. And then we're going to see a great fight. We do see Mike Bowers also going into the pit.
Yes, indeed.
Max is
Guys,
going
this-
into the pit.
Giacomo as well. So yeah, should be interesting to see how this pans out now.
Guys, does him diving into the pits there give Jeff Snavely and Peter Nodwell a chance to maybe catch up to Jeffrey Decker?
I don't know that they'll catch to Jeffrey. It's still 3 seconds back on Jeffrey, but it's definitely going to give them the chance to get, as Leo is heading back out of the pits now. Looks like he's going to come out in P12. He's still blinking. Whereas, P9. But he is
Yeah, Mike
blinking
Bowers
badly.
is also out of the pit. I am curious what we'll see with Jeffrey Decker. Is Jeffrey Decker just going to run right now? Is he thinking, hey, I've had that, I see what Leo is doing and I can do this better?
I'm just trying to get an idea of the pit lane time. So
looks
Leo
about-
was in for 43.1 seconds, and the gap to Decker is 35.3. So
Yeah, on my end it has Leo at 38 seconds, so I'm not quite sure.
like I say, I don't know. Yeah, thank you, internet. But we'll see. We'll see. Jeffrey's probably going to have to pit this lap or next.
I would say that he's going to go one more lap before he takes that entry up here.
He dives
No, he
in
is. He
now.
is going to go in. He's going to go in.
Pits.
Jeff Snavely continues on for another lap. Peter Nodwell dives in as well. Gurkin Demir is going to go in and get some fuel.
All right, so curious to see what Leo is going to do, driving all by himself up here. But that's going to change quite soon.
2.00.350 and picks up the fastest lap of the race.
Wow.
This is just nuts.
All right, so now we see Leo Oktarov coming into that last corner.
Leo is passing the start-finish line. Jeffrey's on his way
Decker
out.
leaves his pits.
All right, so now we see. Is this enough? Jeffrey Decker is still ahead, but Leo is coming really quickly over here.
He'll have to defend very hard here.
He's very hard, but he does make it work. And look at this. Leo is straight behind there. So pit stop again. Didn't do much up here, but now we're in the last 10 minutes. Last 9 minutes. Gonna be fun to see this going out.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, Leo is not in his draft now, right? So it's going to... Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, Leo is about 8.8 of a second back. So he's back in Decker's draft.
Yeah, and the rest of the pack is still the same. We have Pete Notwell behind him, Mike Bowers. And after that, it's Pete Bobrotten with Gurkin Demir and Rusty Pontenberg. And ahead, we still have Jeff Snavely. I don't know what he put in his car, but he's still able to drive and together with Carl Dronke.
Well, I mean, maybe he's saved enough fuel that, he's going to try and one-stop this.
That
which
would be quite the scene.
It would be fun.
Yeah, I don't think he had enough of that.
No.
Oh, no, is he? Yeah, he's
Diving in
diving for the
now.
pits now. He's diving for the pits now. So Snavely's diving for the pits. He should come out possibly just behind.
I would say maybe right
Leo.
around Leo, maybe
Yeah.
close to Nodwell.
Yeah,
I would
think-
hope because that would make it very interesting. Currently, we see dear Joshua Dancy driving in third position, coming here into that pit. He also needs to go in, so that basically
Gronk,
means. And too bad that Andrew Cole can't make it one more extra lap because he would have taken the lead of this. He's currently driving on that fourth position. Whoa!
Benjamin Harris tries to make a pass.
Whoa!
Maybe.
That was really
That was
close,
close.
and luckily no incidents. But we do see, we're going back to the leaders. We see Jeff Snavely coming out of the
Just
pit,
Snavely,
but
he's going to come out right ahead of Peter Nodwell. Oh! Very close on the exit.
yeah, but this is exactly what Ian you were saying. He's doing really fast times, Jeff, and this is why he can actually come back. He's 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean, closing up on them all the time.
He's right in the draft as well, so he could be in prime position to upset the party here.
Yeah, he's got a little ways to go. He's 1.4 back, but that is not insurmountable. Depending on, we're down to the last few minutes now, so the elbows are going to come out, and the working together that these guys, Leo and Jeffrey, were doing initially is going to start to go away as they start to race each other, which
Yeah,
will
and
make
then-
them a little bit slower.
Which
And then
only
it's gonna
gives
be
upper
fun for
hand to
Jeff.
Snavely in third.
Yeah, and Jeff is closing up. The gap's down to 1.3 now.
What do you think, Mike Bowers? 4 seconds away. Is that too far away for 8 more minutes?
Yeah, I think he's going to have a very hard time catching up to the back of Pete Nodwell. I think that's too big a gap. He hasn't got really enough time. Well, maybe. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. It'll be close. We need to get that powered by AWS thing.
Yeah.
You'll catch him in.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's right. If it looks cool, then we're ready for that.
Exactly.
I am watching currently with Charlie McCarthy fighting with Chris. All right, what's Chris's last name on 25th? Jurgen Dallas?
Yeah, Chris, George, and Dallas.
All right, well, Chris, tell us if we told it right, but they are having a nice fight there on that 26th position. Fun to see that everybody can keep coming up with new partners to fight with. While we're
Leo's taking the lead, and Jeff and Snavely is now right up with the two of them, 0.8. So he's now in the draft. So the front is getting very exciting as Decker pulls out a quick look down the inside, and Snavely catches up. He's now 0.4 behind Decker. So these guys have got to start thinking. Decker being the meat in the sandwich is going to have to start thinking not only forwards but backwards. Do I challenge Leo? Do I protect my position? And at what point do I make that decision? As Snavely's closing up even more, as everybody's starting to now fight for this place. And Peter Nodwell is...
Yeah, don't forget about Peter Nodwell in fourth. Maybe something happens here.
Yeah, there is a possibility, though. Peter is almost 5 seconds back, 4.5 seconds, so it's going to be tough for him.
But we have seen it before where these guys are getting in a real fight. And currently it looks like Jeffrey Decker is really getting a little bit antsy. I have the feeling that there's going to happen something very soon.
Hope it's not the curse of the commentator.
No, that's Chris. I'm Pim. Chris is only can do that. I'm not the vice president of the CEOs, like the new promotion that Chris has made. Chris, congratulations for that, by the way. We love the cake that you left us for us.
3 hour now. This is crazy times. This is crazy times.
Yeah, I do have to say, Ian, sometimes I find it difficult to just show the 3 leaders, but this is really exciting. I really can't get it, let it go.
Looks like, do you guys think Snavely may be too far back for a pass in turn 1?
Oh, yeah, but it's not necessary. He just needs to wait here. Jeffrey Decker is going to make the move. Jeffrey Decker is going to be on that inside. And that's where he takes
He
it.
makes it stick. What a
And they're both going outside of the track, and this is the way for Snavely to come back up here. Look at that, Snavely is going to make aware that he's there and that he is also a danger.
Yeah, he hasn't poked his nose down. But look at Leo blinking.
Little bit
That's going to be
blink.
difficult.
Yeah, hopefully his connection will last. Would be really bad. We've seen that one time with Gurkan Demir in Red Bull Racing when he had to disconnect in the last corner. Hopefully Leo doesn't have that, but it's a nice fight over here. Jeff Snavely is having a look. Is he going to make this?
Oh,
Is he
he's
going to
so
make this?
close.
He's going to...
So close.
He's
I
looking
wouldn't-
so...
Not here, not here.
No, you can't pass. Well, you can pass there, but
You can try.
It's not going to be particularly successful. Most 9 times out of 10. But he's coming up to one of my favorite passing spots, which is just before turn 13. As you come down the hill into that very tight right-hander, heavy braking. You get this corner perfectly right. You're almost full throttle all the way around that corner. You come off there with a great push. Flying down here, take the inside line, slam on the brakes, drop it down to the second gear, and pop around this little corner is one of my favorite places to overtake. As Snavely takes a much different line than the others, and Ovecharov
He's on his
blinking
left
away.
now.
I think
Nope.
Jeff had to back out just a little bit because he doesn't know exactly where his car is going to reappear, which makes it very difficult.
So here we're going to see, this is going to be the last lap of these 3 drivers.
Did you see the white flag?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
He is waving the white flag. I'm seriously on the edge of my seat here, guys.
Look at this,
ready
he's
for
going in
your
to the
preview.
inside, he's going to the inside. Is he going to make that move?
Great.
Will
But
it
look
stick?
at Snavely, locked an inside right tire.
But this is, Jeffrey is still ahead.
Jeffrey still ahead. He's got the
blinking is
inside
slowly
position.
getting
Look at
worse for
Snavely
Leo.
pulling over. He's going to see if he can jump.
Oh,
down.
and they hit!
He gets the lead.
Just
And that,
just as I
Warhol
had
comes in
predicted.
the second place.
look at that, and that means that Jeff Snavely is suddenly running away 5 seconds ahead from Peter Notwell. Peter Notwell is being followed by Jeffrey Decker, who is coming back. No idea how we can do that with that kind of a car. We also see Leo still driving. How's that happening?
Jeffrey's having a little bit of problem. You see him locking up there, but Snavely's taking full advantage of his patience, just sitting there, very patient, like a spider in the middle of its web, and picked up that position beautifully. Got out of the way of those 2 guys as they were crashing, and now has to relax and just drive it to the finish, because unless he spins it, he's got it in the bag. What a finish this is going to be.
Yeah, this is not
My
done yet.
Guys, was
Peter
that-
Notwell.
Would you guys say that was legitimate contact or maybe caused by the internet?
No idea, and that's the best part of our job. We don't have to worry about admin work. We're just looking at this race, and currently we see Peter Notwell in that second position. Needs to hold that from Jeffrey
Fighting
Decker.
for his life.
And Leo is still behind that, but I don't think he's going to be involved in that fight. While we do see the last corner of Jeff Snavely. Jeff Snavely is going to take the victory over here. Comes onto the straight. Look at that. Awesome job.
Decker cooks it maybe too deep.
Jeff Snavely in
That'd
first.
be Peter
Peter
Nodwell.
Nodwell still
He's
being chased by
two.
Jeff Decker, but Decker is just too far
Jeffrey
back.
Decker
Comes in
P3.
third. Leo comes in fourth. Mike Barr's in fifth. Pete Mabroughton in sixth. Gurkan Demir in seventh. Carl Dronke comes in eighth. Michael Mccloud crossing the line now into ninth place. Joshua Dancy, who I really expect to see a lot further up the track today, passing in 10th, and that's your top 10. Max de Guacamo and Scott Bell in 12th place, down 1 place from where he started. JR Hoops, Benjamin Harris, Aaron Law, Andrew Cole, not a good day for Andrew, Sean Ross, Alan Paris, Steve Doer, Jeff Torbach, who's still working his way around the final corner, followed by Andy Au and Rusty Pontenberg. That's in 22nd
I believe
place.
Ryan Perez may have ran out of fuel, possibly.
Jason Berkemeyer, yeah, Brian is just shaking that car to he can get to the line and gets passed by George and Dallas right there on the line.
And
As he-
Charlie
and
McCarty's
gets
going to come
passed
by.
by
Maybe Peter Lee. Maybe
McCarthy
Peter Lee
passes
gains
him.
position
Can
here.
Peter get another place? Already past the DRS line.
All right, come on, Peter,
Well-
go for it. We're
Peter,
rooting for you.
Will Jonathan Dockery get in position as
Pete
well?
passed it, but Pete gets that position.
Jonathan
Pete, you
Dockery
did it!
like
You
he's
did
playing-
it!
Comes in 27th. Jonathan Dockery in 28th. Daniel in 29th.
Oh, look at this. What a
Daniel.
teamwork from Brian Perez, who actually is pushing him along. Or Jonathan.
Brilliant. Well, guys, that was such an awesome race.
That was
Oh, wow.
yeah.
So impressed. So
I'm glad-
impressed.
I'm glad this could be my first one up in the booth. It was a lot of fun to watch this one.
Yeah, well, now you understand why we say sometimes it's a little bit scary to see all these cars going around. But you did an awesome job. Thanks a lot. We're going to have a look up here at the final... the final, not the qualifications. Let's look at that. Let's make sure we see the race results coming in. A little bit more interesting. Jeff Snavely on the first position. Peter Notwell second. Congratulations. And then we have Jeffrey Decker and Leo Oktarov being third and fourth with that major incident on that last lap. Curious what we're going to hear about that. Mike Bowers, fifth position. Pete Broughton on the number sixth. Gurkan Amir, seventh. Carl Drunky, number 8. And Michael Mccloud and Josh Dancy on 9th and 10th position. So, this was awesome.
Yeah, guys, I gotta say, I was on the edge of my seat from lap 1. That was a thriller, to say the least. I just had a feeling deep down that that the 2 leaders may wreck, and P3 could have a shot at winning this one, and looks like he ended up just patience. The turtle beats the hare.
Yeah, for sure. That was a fun race to watch. So anybody in YouTube land or Twitch TV land, what do you all? Any comments? Any questions you want us to ask any of these drivers?
Well,
Let us know.
before we do that, I do want to make sure that we talk with Jeffrey, and I hope Leo is also coming into the booth. But we do have Jeffrey over here. Jeffrey, exciting race. A lot of things happened, and let's see your point of view. How was the race for you?
Pretty good, yeah. Mainly the goal was just to stick to Leo as much as I could, because he just had so much more pace. I got lucky with the pole position, honestly, because I think Leo invalidated his last lap, so yeah, definitely fortunate there. But no, it was good. It was a good battle. Basically, when I had the opportunity to get past him to try to get a lap lead, I kind of had to go for it, and luckily I was able to make it stick. And then, yeah, I think just unfortunate on the last lap. I think it would have been a little bit cleaner, but he was kind of blinking a little bit for me, and then in the second to last hairpin on the penultimate lap, I kind of got loose, and I think that kind of set us up in a weird way for that final lap. And then, yeah, just unfortunate contact there, but I'm glad we were both able to finish.
It was amazing that you guys could actually finish that race, because it looked like you were kissing on the middle of the track. But
Yeah,
awesome job.
There was definitely some Skippy love making there.
But that's is always done. I really enjoyed the race. I'm curious. I'm gonna have a look. If we do, I don't see Leo in the booth. We should get his point of view. I'm curious how he saw it. But you're right. We also saw him blinking. At one point, Jeff Snavely came up really quick. Have you seen anything of his race?
I haven't, no, but I saw, I know Leo and I pitted a lap earlier, and I know I took almost like a full lap extra fuel, so I think Snavely just nailed his pit strategy. I think he came in the later lap, so when he came out of the pits a lap later, on the second stop, he was able to take a little bit less fuel, I think, and just, yeah, latched onto us, and yeah, made it a three-way battle, which was great.
Exactly. It was awesome to see, because he was dropping out a little bit, and then after you guys pitted, he just kept going. He was so fast. He really suited some fast times with his car, and that made him to come back. So yeah, you guys had an awesome race. Anything else, guys? Do we have any other questions for Jeffrey?
No, not really. I mean, it was just so much fun to watch you guys racing, and it was such a shame to see the little tangling right there at the end.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a tough corner. Like turn-in times can be a little bit different, and then depending on when you turn in, speeds can be a little bit different. So yeah, it makes for some interesting side by side, but unfortunate things happen sometimes. So yeah, unlucky, but like I said, glad we were both able to finish, and it was a fun race for sure.
It was definitely a very fun race, and you're right, this is typically what we have in SNS. That's why it's so difficult to get a championship, because you need to be good all the time, and you have a lot of things that can go wrong. I want to thank Jeff Snavely. I want to congratulate him with the victory. He's not here in the booth, but what an amazing job he did. But also Peter Notwell coming back quite strong on that second position. Great job. I really enjoyed it. Had an awesome race.
Yeah, no, it was great. Big congrats to Snavely too, because yeah, just being able to catch back up to us. I mean, I thought Leo was going to pull us away. I think it was probably my lap sled that put Snavely back in contact. But yeah, no, big congrats to him. I think it's his first SNS win, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so too. And that's always very special. You know that. I still would love to do that one time, but it's going to take a little bit longer practice. You guys really rock up here. So.
I do have one disappointment, Jeffrey, that is that you didn't crack the 2. You got down to 2.00.034. I mean, you guys were getting so close, and I was like rooting for a,
all right, you know, that's it.
1.59999 or something, you know.
Sorry, Jeffrey. What do you want to say?
No, I was just to say that's it. We got to run the race again.
Rerun. Well, if you guys are up for it, I'm up for it because it was amazing, and I could watch this for hours and hours. Jeffrey, I want to thank you before we do any call-outs. I want to thank you for always coming here to the booth. If it's good or bad, you're always here to tell your side of the story, which I really appreciate.
Cheers, guys. Yeah. Yeah, I guess for me, like, I just want to give a shout out to my wife because she always lets me race, which is fantastic. And then a shout out to Leo. I think it didn't end the way either of us were hoping, but it was a really, really great race, and it's always fun to race him. So yeah, just an unlucky tangle there, but got to give him a shout out because he's always fun to race with.
Definitely.
Yeah,
And
for me, I think putting the incident aside, it was pretty amazing watching you guys be nose to tail from what seemed to be extremely early on in the race. You guys never really disconnected from each other, it seemed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me there was I actually felt like that first stint especially was just a battle with myself to stay with Leo. Like, I mean, that was pretty much it. It's just, can I hang on here? Yeah, and luckily just was able to do so.
Yeah, that was awesome racing. Awesome racing. So congratulations
really,
to everybody.
Really nice work. I want to thank all our viewers who are always there to give us comments. Thank you for the call out on the muted button. That helped a lot in our broadcast. And we would love to see you next Sunday. So see you then.
Thank you.
What does he mean by that?